What's up, guys? Mass Mechanics here, and welcome back to the channel. Today's we got exciting news. We got our console for our interior swap on our Super Duty project. So let's go through it and get it all figured out and customize the way we want it, and then we'll get it lined up to go in the truck. Stay tuned. This is our 12, 11 to 16 console that we're going to run in our 04 Super Duty to go with our upgrades we're doing. As you can see, this one's in pretty darn good shape. The cool thing is, if you it has this panel, I'm not sure if anybody who's doing this knows, but this panel is different than the regular cup holder panel. It does not fit the same. So if you want to have this work, you need to have this panel. Otherwise, your console won't mate up with your dash properly. So if you ever buy one of these from a junkyard, make sure you go ahead and get this panel with it. And most of the time, I think this panel is like 40 bucks brand new from Ford. So usually a junkyard just says, oh yeah, here you go, take it. At least from my experience. And then another thing you want to look at is make sure that these cup holders are in the console when you get them. These cup holders with all the silly little grommet things, they're about $100 for the whole setup. So definitely make sure you have that. And these lids get all tore up, and this one's really nice. It's dirty, but it's in good shape. And then you also have a tray here. Try to make sure they don't try to jip you on some of this stuff. Luckily, I found a pretty good junkyard I've dealt with on quite a few things. But see, there's a rubber tray here. Make sure that's there. And then down here, there's another rubber tray. Make sure that's there. It doesn't seem like much. Each one of these tray things are like $25 from Ford, or you got to dig through a junkyard and try to get them, and they want 20 bucks, even though they're 25 for right out of the dealer. So it's just one of those things to always look out for if you're working on one of these trucks and you're trying to mod yours. It can get really expensive really quick, or you can do it for pretty reasonable. Because I remember when these consoles are like $1,000, and now they're like, 400 bucks. So it's kind of nice. At least around in my area here in New England, that's kind of what they're going for. That's what it looks like underneath. As you can see, I unclipped everything, so it makes it easier to come apart. Because I couldn't wait. I had to start taking it apart before I started videoing. So it's going to be gray, just like this, the base. That way everything matches inside. I'll leave this obviously black. I'll leave probably the part of the top black, maybe, the back panel maybe. We'll see how I tape it off or get it apart. Also, under here there's a harness. Of course the lighting sucks. Let me see here. It's a little better. This is your power inverter that runs the plug in the back. Sometimes you'll find people that take this stuff off. They can sell it separate. Make sure it's on there, because it's a rip-off if they try to take it. Now the other trouble is if you're doing a swap like me, this thing only charges for around 5 minutes and then shuts off because it doesn't have the signal from the computer, I believe it is. So I'm going to probably just change it out for a regular power inverter that I can just run off the truck, and I'll probably just put a switch on the dash, make it easy, because I'm not really looking to make it function exactly like factory. I just want it to function for what I'm doing. And then as you can see, there's a harness here. This goes to a power outlet, and there's another outlet in the back. Yeah, overall it's pretty good. Another thing too is you got all these brackets that go to the floor. What I'm going to use, I don't know, but it's just nice to have it, just like the bag of parts, or bolts and stuff. I mean, most junkyards aren't going to give you a hard time. See? Well, these are all the fasteners and hardware for this out of the 11 to 16 truck. I believe maybe 2012 is the first year. I don't know, 11 something. Yeah, here's your power outlet. Your other outlet there. The only other issue I'm going to have is I won't be able to get these to work because I'm doing a swap dash from, I think the dash is the 12 actually, but it just doesn't have the setup for all this, and I really don't care about the heat back here. Being an extended cab, it gets pretty hot in there pretty quick. So, long story short, I got to tear this thing apart, clean it, do the interior dye on it, get it all looking good and pretty so it all matches the rest of our interior. Then we'll start lining it all up. Stay tuned. And just to show you guys an idea of I know this does not look almost like a dash, but you know, your glove box here, airbag, radio, all your switch stuff for here, your gauge cluster. So it's a little hard to tell what everything is, but here is our new panel for our console. And to just check fitment, you got some little tabs right here, and they line up right with these holes. And there you go. See, all the bolt holes line up, and this is where it's going to sit. So this is how our console gets connected to our dashboard. So that way it connects right to it, and it looks great. Now I got to figure out what goes here for a little panel. I think it's like a little storage box or something, but I got to hunt one down and get it so I can put it in, because this didn't come with it, unfortunately. But the bezel fits great and it's in good shape, so I'll get it dyed up, and this thing is ready to almost go in. So let's keep plugging away on all the other pieces. Well, as you can see, the console is looking quite a bit different now. I did a vinyl dye over the whole thing, got it looking really good. Not over the whole thing, but you know, the parts that needed to be. I kind of mirrored it after a couple f150s I saw with different colors, because I haven't ever actually personally seen a Super Duty with gray. All the consoles I've seen are black, but I wanted it to match our interior, and I've seen f150s this way, so really careful tape lines and things like that, and I had the lid off. And to do the lid, in case somebody has one of these and wants to take the lid off, you see where all these secure fastener nut things are? You got to take a T20 and take out 7 of these right here and pop it off. That's it. So if you ever need to take it off, because a lot of people have to change the material on the lid. Luckily for us, ours is in excellent shape. And since the dash and everything is black and gray, I wanted to kind of make the console match that theme rather than just have it black, because I think it would stand out. So now it'll look factory-ish and have a nice touch and flow to the whole truck. So let me keep going and get this thing back together. I just figured I'd stop and show you guys how to get the lid off or put it back on. It's pretty simple, and give you guys an update on what it looks like ripped apart and dyed. Alright, with the console flipped over, on the bottom here you got your factory inverter. It's computer controlled. It has a signal wire that you can fiddle with and try to get to work. Most people have to take it all apart and change around the wiring on the board to get it to work out right. For us, it just makes more sense to just put a different inverter in, because number one, this is 150 watt. I'm going to go up a little bit with my wattage. I'm going to run much heavier wire than they're using anyways, right to the battery through like an upfitter type switch, and that'll control the on and off on it. And then we'll run the wire like a plug-in wire from here directly to where the outlet is on the back of the console. So this has got to go. So I'm going to work on taking it out with these 4 Torx screws here and here, unplug the wires, and then we're going to have to start figuring out our wiring for our power outlets too. And we can hook those up to a circuit and make it so we can have more than one power outlet going at once. But first things first, let's work on the inverter. So let me get this off and I'll be back with you. So before I put it together, just so you guys can see, I took the power inverter apart, the brand new one, and then I took the on-off switch off, and then I took the 2 wires that connected to it and extended them out, so then I can take these and tie them to a rocker switch on my dash that matches all my other rocker switches that I have already. And that way it'll be like an upfitter switch basically for having the power inverter to kick on and off. And this power inverter is like 3 times as powerful as the factory one, so it should work out good. And then I'll just run different power cables here, the power and ground, and on off here, and then I plug this into the back of the outlet on the console, and we'll be in business. As you can see, I got that wired right here. See? So we are in business, good to go. And let me start setting it up, and I got to drill holes in the bottom of the console mounting plate because the new one's slightly bigger. So get that done and we'll be good to go. Alright guys, so after a little bit of time wiring, a little less than an hour, you just got to take your time. We cut apart the factory harness that was in here. removed the power inverter and the factory harness part that is for the power inverter. Got that out of the way. We saved the factory wiring for the cigarette lighter in the back. We took our new inverter here that we had apart before. These are our new on-off switch wires. Those are tied into the harness all the way down, and those are going to run to a rocker switch in the dash. And we get a power wire going right up to there as well. That way that can go straight to the battery with a 50 amp fuse. And here's our ground wire for the inverter, and also the ground wire for both cigarette lighters. And then the power wires for the cigarette lighters run up through here too, and are going to get tied into probably an accessory open empty fuse in the fuse box. So that way that's normal and it's not tied into another circuit that doesn't belong. And then we tied all the wires down the factory way. So we made ourselves a little harness here, and we left a bunch of extra wires and labeled them on the ends. So when we do our install, we can cut them the length exactly. And as for the power to the plug here, we got just a standard cord, and we plugged it in right in the back here. And I gotta just put a little glue on the back side, and then we'll be able to plug it in, and we have a nice 400 watt power inverter instead of the 150 watt. So now we can charge like our Milwaukee batteries you see me using sometimes. I can run different things if I'm on a site or I'm at an off-grid area, things like that. So we should be good to go. And it's a lot hardier than the factory one, and it's going to be controlled to the switch in the dash instead of being powered all the time. So we are in business here on wiring. I just got to put the back panel back on, get this stuff all situated and finished, and then this is ready to go in the truck, and we'll finish up the seats that we're doing, get the dash finished set up, and wait for some more seat parts to come in, and we can start really hammering on the install on this. So definitely stay tuned, and we're going to keep moving along. Thanks a lot for watching, guys. I'm really excited about this console. I think it gives it a nice custom look and really updates the interior. So please, if you haven't already, like and subscribe, because we got a lot more Super Duty content coming your way. You can also follow us on Instagram and Facebook with the Mass Mechanics.